Hey guys, this is Brad from Blue Nile Farm. Welcome to the channel. Today I want to talk about the Wingfield chain harrow, which is something I accrued back probably about 8 years ago at the Farm Science Review in Columbus. I went and met with Dean Wingfield. I think he believes they're out of Illinois, and he owns Wingfield Harrow. They call it the Great American Harrow. Anyway, I was talking to him about my situation, having a horse farm, and back then I was kind of relatively somewhat new to the hay world, and I kind of decided, I wanted a tool that's multi-versatile that I can use with the manure issues that I have on the farm, out in my pastures, as well as the idea of utilizing them in my hayfield operation. So in the hayfield operation was where I really use it more than I do that horse ordeal. You know, and the reason for that is I really almost need to have a designated tractor hooked up so I can run this all the time. And unfortunately, I don't. And I do put a lot of mileage on this when it comes down to my hay fields, because there's certain times of the year that I really like to use it. Today it's in August, mid-August right now, and I want to basically do some overseeding in my pasture. I had a really bad year, and I want to kind of start to incorporate some of that seed that's fallen off of the uh, field, mostly orchard grass and timothy, and I want to basically incorporate in the soil as an overseed where I don't actually have to go out and buy seed. I'm going to use the seed that actually came off the plants and incorporate it, because I know I'm not going to get a second cut this year, and I just want to just kind of make sure I can get a good growth for next year. So this is where the chain harrow comes in and it really shines in my hay operations. I utilize it a lot to dethatch my hay fields, and I also use it in overseeding situations, specifically when I'm using seed from pretty much the last cut of the year. And I try to incorporate that because that is like free growth and free seed, so why not put it down? And if you don't get seed to soil contact, you're kind of missing the boat. So this is one of those tools that I like because I can use it for multiple different things. And, because it relates specifically to my hay operation, it's a good deal. The other thing I'm going to start utilizing in my hay operation, not only in the overseeding, but I'm dealing with rough fields right now, and they're becoming to be a real problem. And this doesn't have enough bite per se to really level that ground that I'm dealing with. But I am going to incorporate it with my offset disc, and I'm going to show videos on how to basically fix real rough hay fields, not just a patch, and kind of incorporate this along with my offset disc. And I think you'll kind of get a taste of how that all works together. But as far as the Wingfield Harrow goes, I kind of want to talk about that before we go out in the field and I shoot a different video. But one thing about the Wingfield Harrow is they sell different kinds. And a lot of times when we talk about chain harrows, everybody's used to just that drag harrow that you pull behind a tractor, and when you're done, you leave it. And what's nice about the Wingfield Harrow is they created, taking that drag harrow, and then they basically created a box. So it could be on a 3-point. So now once you have a harrow that is attached to a box, you open up a whole new different world, because you can take that harrow pretty much anywhere you want to go. And that's what really intrigued me about the chain harrow from Wingfield Harrow, is because they had that box design. So I wound up buying the 10-foot piece, just this piece here, and I bought that because I wanted to try it out. I really wasn't too sure if I really wanted to use this. I didn't know how it would work with detaching my hay fields. I really didn't want to invest a lot of money. And in comparison to all the other tools that I actually have, it wasn't that expensive. It was like a couple $1,000s, maybe $3,000, to buy this 10-foot chain harrow. And so I thought, well, why not? And then as Dean Wingfield, the owner, told me that you can always add onto this piece by piece. So I wound up for 1 year using the 10-foot section, and I would use it on hay fields, and I would pull the detaching, and I really kind of liked the way it was working. And then I decided I want to upgrade a little bit. So then I upgraded to getting the wings. And the wings they sell as a kit with the hydraulic cylinders, the wings, and everything just kind of basically bolts together. And it really made the whole unit a lot more efficient for me, because now I'm actually running with 20 feet once the wings come down, and I'm covering a lot of ground really fast. And I really think this thing works out really good. And because it is a pretty good length and width, you're really getting some real penetration. The other thing that too is that you can, when you set up your chain, you either be aggressive or not aggressive. And to me, why pull something that's not aggressive? So I run aggressive where those teeth are actually getting and whacking into the ground. And I like that because, one, if I'm pulling it through a hay field and I'm dethatching, I'm actually like a big comb going through and pulling the grass. When I'm breaking out manure, I know it's making contact with the soil and it's really coming down that manure and really breaking it apart. And when I'm overseeding, I think it really works that grass and the seed and gets that, it kind of like rips into the soil and it actually creates that seed to soil contact. Third, or actually fourth, I actually use this in direct seeding with bare ground where we actually tilled the soil. We're down to dirt. We broadcast seeded with the broadcast spreader. I came in with the chain harrow to basically cover my seed. And I'm going to tell you something, it was beautiful. I had some really wonderful stands. And when I would do this, I actually had to put down about 20 pounds the acre. When you're down to bare ground, if you overseed into a field with Timothy orchard grass from my area, they always told me to use 10 pounds the acre. But, you know, that is kind of pricey, but I'll tell you, the stand I got on bare ground with this was just phenomenal. I was really happy with that. So with that said, that really made the difference as far as, you know, putting this to use. I really like that. And now this year, I'm going to start incorporating it into leveling off my rough hay fields, which I'm kind of excited about because I've had a lot of equipment damage done over the years by equipment going on and off, and those fields are really rough. And stuff's been breaking, and it's really kind of frustrating me. And I know it frustrates a lot of other hay producers because after so many years, your fields get really rough. So I'm going to start incorporating this more and more into my hay operation more than anything else. And that's what's so nice about it. It's so multi-versatile, you know. And also, you know, even when we're talking about overseeding, you know, just like today, I'm going to go out and overseed a pasture, or actually a hay field that basically was late for me to harvest. And so I know all the seed headed out, and a lot of it just fell down when I went through the baling process. So since all that seed is freshly down on the ground for the last couple of weeks, my fields are relatively kind of recovered. They're not cut so short, and we're supposed to get rain in the next 24 hours. I definitely want to get out there and kind of get that seed to soil contact so I can get this to start to blossom and take off and get a good start into next year. So, you know, these are some of the reasons why I chose to go with the chain harrow. And the Wingfield, what's nice about it, it is an American harrow. It's all American made. And, you know, it's bought locally or throughout the United States. And they're really a good group to work with. And I really enjoyed working with the Wingfield harrow. And Dean Wingfield of all, you know, if I had any questions, I'd call him up and I have his personal number. And, you know, he has no problem returning phone calls. And that's what I really like about that, you know, service. So, I would look into, if you're a hay producer, I would really think really good and hard about maybe this might work for you, especially if you're a small producer. You know, because a lot of the big guys, they put a lot of money in a lot of more high-tech equipment. But, you know, I do about 150 acres of hay. You know, as I keep getting bigger, the more I really start to enjoy using the harrow. I mean, even when I do, before I seed, you know, I run a harrow through my hay field if it was even bare dirt. And I'll tell you, it's better than sometimes using a cola mulcher because, you know, it actually breaks down the soil. I can make circles around. I just keep leveling the dirt. And it really breaks down all those clods, and it really makes a nice field. So, again, this is well worth the investment. It's kind of cheap, and, you know, you can use it for multiple things. It's not something like a plow or a disc that just sits inside half the year because you don't have no use for it. You know, this thing, you can have multiple uses depending on your operation. I also have mine hooked up to a quick hitch, and I did that because it was kind of a pain to kind of hook up the bigger this gets, but it works out good for me. And so you can do this because since you put it together, you can alter your hitch setup to where it would fit a quick hitch, and I think that makes it a little bit better too. Now, what's another thing what's nice about this on the add-ons, like I said, I went from a 10-foot box, then I added wings. I can actually add wheels to this as well, and that's where I'm really getting into more money. And for me personally, I think the best thing you can do is to use this like it is for me. And I still travel a couple miles down the road to get in some of my fields. And I just use the 3-point and pick this thing up. I use a hydraulic top link on this unit because with the hydraulic top link, you'll find your chain kind of drags down below. And with the hydraulic top link, you can lift this up and lift the back end up pretty high so your chain doesn't drag onto the ground. And that makes a big difference. So hydraulic top link, quick hitch, those are really good benefits and things that I suggest you use with this Wingfield harrow if you're not using the wheels, the cart as they call it. And there is a little bit more money to the cart, And like I say, I don't see no benefit in going to the cart with the system I have now, and it works out pretty well. And when I go through the field, I kind of, try not to bury it down heavy in the front, and I just want it to kind of slope at a certain angle where the front shoes are not hitting the ground, and it just travels better. And like I say, it's well worth the investment. I say check out Wingfield Harrows out of Illinois. They're a great company. It's American made, like I said, and this is the heavy duty model. And the heavy duty model allows you to build and grow with it. I suggest that you look into this. It's really well worth it. And again, aggressive mode I think is the best mode. So that's all I wanted to really cover, something really quick about this chain harrow before I go out in the field and use it. And stick around for the next video that I talk about using this chain harrow, because we're going to talk about overseeding for existing hay fields, and something I just touched on here also. So I'll see you guys later, and thanks for watching. Hopefully, if you have any interest in this, again, check out Wingfield Harrows. Might be something you may be interested in.